Jus Riffin. Tuesday night, 8:30 EST. Know where we be. Jus Riffin. Special guest, a tech and talk, a musicology. Jus Riffin. Coming to you live at the same time. Here every week. Jus Riffin. Jump in the room, let's chop it up. It really ain't that deep. Jus Riffin.
What is up, everybody? This is another episode of Jus Riffin. I'm one of your hosts, Hefner. I got Cookie Rabinowitz in the building with me tonight. We got an awesome guest. By the way, we do this every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, powered by Rug Radio. Tonight, we are popping our cherry on Abstract Chain. So people that are on Abstract, welcome to the show. Welcome to Jus Riffin. Yeah. Awesome. Like I said, I'm Hefner and I got Cookie Rabinowitz with me. Cookie, what's happening with you, buddy? What's going down?
Well, a few things, but I'm wondering, is there a way that we could stream Abstract so we can get our Abstract points while we're actually broadcasting? We'll double dip. Can we do that?
I have no idea how it works, but
we got to figure that shit out because, you know, we want to get those XP points while we're broadcasting. You know, let's double dip, man. Let's do it.
Double dip. Do I do it? Do I diddy? Double dip. That's right. So what's been going on with you this week, man? What's good in your world, sir?
Well, you know, I've been thinking a lot. You know, we've had some guests on. I remember what was his name? I don't want to say what his name. Jigsaw. He was making some really cool music, and he was saying how you know, if he makes it and he doesn't really care if anybody likes it. If he likes it, and that's great. And then I heard, you know, I see a lot of the time. You always see is it Rick Rubin? Is that it?
Rick Rubin, yeah, he's got a great podcast.
He always says, you know, like, yeah, you know, you have to create. You don't create for other people. You create for yourself and everything.
Right.
And I dig all that, but I've been working on this new release that I'm putting out soon, and I've been spending hours and hours and hours on it. And all I think to myself is, yeah, I get that. I'm an artist. I like to create. I like to funnel the creativity through me that comes from hopefully a higher power. But at the end of the day, I really want people to fucking like it. I'm not going to lie. Maybe that makes me not as good of an artist, but I want people to like my shit, man.
Yeah, I think everybody does. I think that's you know, there's that part of you're creative, right? Not you, but just in general, right? Mm-hmm. When I say you, I mean like, you know, Understood. Anybody that's creative. So, you know, you're doing it because you're creative. You're being creative. You need to release it somehow, whether it's art, whether it's music, whatever. And so, yeah, you're doing it for you. And, you know, you really hope that other people do like it. But there is that part, like you're talking about, that everybody has that's creative. You want that affirmation. You want somebody to give you props. You want because you feel like this is you're putting your all into it. You want to get that feedback back from the people, especially the positive feedback. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, of course, I think everybody likes that.
For sure. And, you know, I do want to add to that too. One thing I noticed, I think part of evolving and getting better as an artist though, is losing that thing where, so I think on the path, sometimes a lot of artists, sometimes they find a sound or they find their voice, and it's something that people like, but they don't love, but nobody hates. And I think as you evolve in as an artist, you find stuff that people really, really like, but then it polarizes you in one way or the other. Some people will hate it, but that's okay because that just means that you're really finding your unique voice, and the people that really resonate with that, they'll love it, even though people are going to really hate it. And when people just all think, oh, this is all pretty good, that's when you know it sucks. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? What do you think?
I don't know, man. When you said when everybody likes it, that's when it sucks. Is that what you said?
No, well, if everybody not likes it, yeah, I'll say if everybody likes it, I think that's when it sucks.
What? I think how could that be though? That then I disagree there. I think if everybody likes it, they like it. And now I don't think people are just liking it because they hate it. I think, you know, for me, I can only speak for myself. If I don't like it, I don't need to go out of my way to be like, oh man, that's garbage, whatever. Just that's my opinion of it. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just not going to like it. I won't give it a thumbs down. I just won't like it. I just won't bother with it. But if it's something that I really dig, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I'm going to like it because I truly like it.
I understand what you're saying, but I do believe there's an element of without hate, there is no love. And we're talking about likes now, but I'm talking about love. Like when people love something and they really resonate it and it's theirs. I seem to me, it seems that there's also a group of people that really, really strongly will say, we don't have to use hate because hate is a strong word, let's face it, but strongly dislike it. Like, wow, man, this is terrible. Like somebody will say. And, you know, sometimes music does hit me that way where I'm like, wow, I really, it doesn't really hit with me. But I also recognize that there's probably something really special about it because it made me feel that way. Like, because then it's a personal taste thing. And, you know, and the personal taste thing, I think that's the future of music, man. You know, I think the tastemakers, I've said this before and I really feel strongly. I feel like with all this technology, the tastemakers are going to be the new platforms. I think platforms will always be here, but I believe there's going to be a lot of niche. How do you say it? Niche or whatever. But there's going to be a lot of tastemakers that curate things. Sort of like back in the day with SoundCloud. I forget the name of a lot of these playlisters, but they were more like, you know, and then after a while they get kind of tainted, like they start taking on the pay, like, okay, I'll put your shit on here for X amount of dollars.
That's when it sucks. But that's because, you know, it's a business, right? They turn it into a business. And, you know, after they get one, they want another. They get the bug, you know, the influencer bug, and then they start influencing everything instead of, you know, vibing with one brand and really helping that brand because they really, truly, honestly like it, you know? I could see that. I see like a lot of people taking on, you know, a bunch of different things because they're trying to get that paycheck. And I'm not knocking them either. Do your thing, you know?
No, well, I mean, for the same reason, I really don't have a problem with Spotify, you know? Like, it's a business. They're trying to make money. It's like
you could either do it or not.
And we say it time and time again, but we as the creators can choose where we distribute our stuff. So it's
100%.
like, why would we complain about a platform that's not aligned with the way we want to do it instead of just finding a different platform? Or even better yet, using this awesome technology around us and distributing it ourselves, you know? Although I do see the power in community and the network effect. So I'm not shitting on platforms either because I think there's a lot of value there. If you find a platform that people are going to and you can get that network effect, it's really cool. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to just making your stuff, you know? Make your stuff first and worry about the distribution later. I don't know.
Yeah, do your music, man. Do it, enjoy it, because there is a process for the distribution. You don't need to know about it. It's not a rocket science. Just make your music if you're making music, and then, like Cookie said, worry about the distribution afterwards, because the distribution doesn't really change the chain of how things go. It's always going to be the same. It remains the same. There's nothing that's significant about it except for the process. So, yeah, just do your music first.
Well, you know, they say on the blockchain, they say, trustless the process.
Trustless the process. You should make t-shirts. Like I have these protected dev t-shirts.
I love this. Can we get that on cam? I want to show you your shirt because it looks really cool.
You could buy this.
There it is.
You could buy this to help support the show. The money that the proceeds that are coming in from the t-shirt sales go to pay for like StreamYard and, you know, Cookie's new glasses. And
yeah, I have old, but these glasses are about 15 years old. I glued them together. They're made out of wood.
Those are dope.
But well, these other ones, man,
they float. They float.
So my black ones, I just want to say this real quick. Like, they make me look really old. And the thing is, I am really old, but I've had them since I wasn't really old. And when I wasn't really old, I didn't mind wearing glasses that made me look really old. But now that I'm really old, I don't want to wear glasses that make me look really old. Does that make sense?
All right. Hey, man, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck it, man. I like those other big glasses. They're like, I forget what movie it was. Maybe Up. You know, that character with the big glasses and stuff. The main character. I forgot to mention, you know, we have an amazing guest. I was trying to get into it and then, you know, got lost in the sauce. But we have an awesome guest tonight. Our guest on the Jus Riffin show is legendary. He's a legendary DJ. This guy's performed. He was the DJ for Korn on the Family Values tour. He's had radio shows with DJ Lethal. He's had an amazing hip hop show with more legendary DJs, Mr. Chalk, C minus. It was C minus, Mr. Chalk, J Rock, and Truly Odd from the Heavyweights record pool and the heavyweight DJs. And that was really a dope, like, underground hip hop show on one of the major radio stations, Power 106 out in Los Angeles. But this guy's like had, gotten a personal phone call from, like, Dave Grohl wanting him to DJ at, whatever, or whatever it was that he was doing. I mean, he's performed with Wu-Tang, Metallica, Nas, Deftones, The Strokes, Green Day, Gangstar, you name it. He's done it. He's one of those DJs that crosses the music over, like, he'll mix hip hop with Talking Heads, right? He'll mix Talking Heads with 80s pop, 80s electro. Like, he just mixes it all up. There's no, like, what's your style, So I'm excited to have him, DJ C minus, and he's also co-host of Be Real from Cypress Hill, has a show, his Dr. Green Thumb show on. You can check that out, BeReal.com, BeRealTV.com. So I'm excited to have him. I know him for a long time. It's been a long time since we spoke, so I'm happy to have him on the show tonight. We'll get some knowledge from him, and I think that's going to be really, really dope, man, that we have him on the show. So I wanted to mention that to everybody that's watching. So stick around, stay tuned, because we do got some dope conversations coming. Yes, sir. So let's see. You want to do a segment? You feel like jumping in?
Well, there's a couple things that happened this week. I mean, I don't really have an official segment. Like I said, I've been grinding on the music stuff, but I noticed some things that this might be fun to talk about for a minute. Like, I noticed Ghostface Killer's been on the timeline a lot, talking about crypto. He's been interacting with the Puggy
I haven't seen that.
And, of course, it looks like he's going to launch a meme coin, He just asked a couple hours ago, he asked people to jump into his Telegram. He's going to launch a contract adjust. So we've seen how this stuff has went in the past. I'm not trying to FOMO anybody into it, but I thought it was kind of, he's a music guy. It's Ghostface Killer. So I thought we'd talk about that. Also, Wu-Tang's huge, got a huge following. But, look, man, it's very tough, as you know, like, even just because you are whoever, meme coins, they don't lie, and they got no love for anybody. You know what I mean? They got no feelings. Well, it's funny because speaking of Wu-Tang and blockchain, remember years ago, it was very different thinking. They put out that record and they auctioned it off, and it was like a one of a kind. And
right, like,
they kind of, they've kind of been digging into this collectible and this rarity stuff for a little bit of time. And not that meme coin is in there, but when we talk about music collectibles and stuff on chain, so it's interesting stuff. And that whole camp is very creative, in their music and in their marketing and their branding. Those guys do a lot of really cool stuff. Oh, you know what? That reminds me. They just put out, I don't know if it's out yet, but they put out a 1 of 1 album cover. I should dig that up real quick while we're talking about some other stuff. But remember we were talking about that. Chris was on our show, Chris Schwartz, and he was telling us about it too. And I think he did that with them. They have an album. Is it I'll look it up. I hate to do this stuff. I'm so unprofessional. I'm sorry, but it's interesting nonetheless. And so I believe they're using blockchain technology for that. So it's some interesting stuff going on. I mean, the collectible, the collectible thing with music is always there. And there's also a lot of people talking about, royalties being paid on chain. And a little anecdote about that. I don't know if you remember, Hef, I think it was about a year ago, maybe not quite a year ago, but I put out a song using this technology and Polygon called Formless, where you put the song out and you can get a share of it, or you get shares of it and stuff. I tested it out. We tried different things, but I just got an email, just like a standardized email from that company just earlier today saying, hey, if you have any funds from this thing, you need to move it in 3 days or you're going to lose it because we changed our wallet providers. And that's just a testament to kind of like what we have been talking about too, where these companies, they're really doing some bold shit and they're smart people, but we're so early that shit gets clunky, you know? Like, can you imagine if I didn't see that email and I didn't log in 3 days, and then all of a sudden I wouldn't be able to collect that $3.47? It'd be a nightmare. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Hold on, I got to give you one of these.
Just Riffin, Just Riffin.
I gave you two, not just one. I gave you two of those. On point. I want to do a little something, and I don't want to do too long because you know, we have our guest coming pretty soon here. So let's do a sound check, man. Let's get into it. I got something.
Sound check.
Check 1, 2, 2.
Hefner's gonna bless the mic. Sound check.
Hey, 2, hey.
Riffin on a Tuesday night. Sound check.
Yeah, I love sound check. Sound check is great. So what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about Zev X, aka MF Doom. If you're a hip hop head, you know who that is. You might not know him as Zev X, but before MF Doom, there was a group called KMD, Cause Much Damage. They were on Elektra Records. Dante Ross was the A&R, and MC Search from Third Base. These guys were all friends, you know, and I believe Search kind of got him up and out, you know, helped him out, you know, and ironically enough, also another dope MC, MC Search helped was Nas. But we're talking about Zev X, aka MF Doom, just one of the most prolific MCs and producers of our generation. He passed away too soon at the young age of 49, unfortunately, due to blood pressure medication. You would think that that's going to help you, but unfortunately it was his demise there. And you know, he lost his life due to those pills. But you know, this guy was, when he was alive, one of the greatest, and he'll go down as the greatest ever. Like, he's in my top 5 of MCs, one of the best to ever do it. The rhyme style, the writing, just it all intersects. And he's collabed with some of the greatest producers as well, like Danger Doom. They did an album, Danger Doom. I'm sorry, Danger Mouse is the producer, and they did an album called Danger Doom. You had also Mad Villain, which was Madlib, and MF Doom as Victor Vaughn, the villain Victor Vaughn. So like, yeah, just really awesome. The unfortunate, you know, when they were younger, his younger brother Sub Rock, I don't know the whole story, but I believe his passing happened due to a tragic car accident. And then that's how MF Doom was born out of that. So Zev X changed his name to MF Doom, and then he was wearing a mask, you know, metal face. So the MF stands for metal face. You know, Victor Vaughn is Doom, you know. I think it's the Fantastic Four. So yeah, you know, took on this moniker, and just amazing, and so many cool stories just along the way. Also, there were times when he wouldn't show up to an event, but he got booked for it, so they had like a stand-in, you know, because he's behind the mask anyway. And so there is some stuff going on like this. But just really, everybody, I'm done with the sound check, but go check out MF Doom, go check out Zev X. Look up KMD, Cause Much Damage. The first album was called Mr. Hood, classic album. Second album got banned. It was called Black Bastards. And you know, because of the album cover, just go do some research, go look these guys up, go listen to it, and do a sound check of your own, because you'll be impressed if you don't know who he is. Yeah, and you like hip hop. So that's my sound check. That's my 1-2. Can't hear you, man. You are muted, bro.
Got you. So yeah, MF Doom is one of those artists. It's like his sound is so, and I hate to use such a generic term, but I love it. It's so raw, you know, like just his production I'm talking about, and you know, his MC skills too. But it's very raw. I love to get into a zone and listen just to a bunch of music like that, and it kind of inspires you to you know, I guess maybe not to be so uptight when you're making your own stuff, you know, like just be free and make shit. And let it come out the way it's going to come out. And that's usually where the magic is. There's usually a lot of magic hidden in that rawness,
Absolutely. And that's how he wrote. He was really like that. It sounded like he was it was just one long, freestyle. Let me pull something up. Let me pull some lyrics up, because he was really a genius, man. I felt like he was a genius, rhyme wise. When they were doing Zevlov, when he was Zevlov X, when they were doing, what do you call it, KMD, I thought this guy's master, genius at writing. And and then when he picked up the Doom character, it just went, it was like another level. Like he never, just never really left from where he was at, and it just went to another level, let's see. I'm just trying to look up some random stuff here. So this is from I don't know, it's not like my favorite song or anything like that. I just pick up a random song just so I could recite some lyrics to everybody. So this is a song called Hoe Cakes, HOE cakes. We used to call hoe cakes hostess cupcakes were hoe cakes, we used to call, and also, obviously, cakes are for booty, So I got this girl and she wants me to duke her. I told her I'd come scoop her around 8 and she said super. This is really dope if you get a chance to listen to this song, because they are adding elements of JJ Fad's song Supersonic. So everything that says super, it's JJ Fad's song going super, if you can imagine that. So, and maybe I'll play a little bit of it since we got a little bit of time while we're waiting for our guest. But anyway, I got this girl and she wants me to duke her. I told her I'd come scoop her around 8. She said, super. That sounds great. Shorty girl's a trooper. No matter what I need her to do, she'd be like, super. Okay, so that's as far as I'm gonna go. And let me see if I can find it here on this.
And while you're digging that up, I just wanted to say, I think it's really cool the way these certain artists explore different characters, like MF Doom, Zevlov X, Dave did that kind of thing. Who else was I thinking of? Another rapper, but there's plenty of artists that do this. They kind of get what's Cool Keith,
Cool Keith, yeah, he's love to get him on the show. Cool Keith.
They have all these different characters, and they just kind of it frees them so much as artists, and
they roll with it. Yeah, of course. I think it's great. I think it's just awesome. All right, let me play a little bit of this Hoe Cakes, so you guys everyone could hear what I was talking about, and you could actually hear how unique this guy was. I think they sampled Sade too. I remember on this song.
Keep your hoes in check. I got this girl and she wants me to duke her. I told her I'll come scoop her around 8. She said, that sounds great. Shorty girl's a trooper. No matter what I need her to do, she'd be like.
So you get the gist of it. I don't want to keep playing it, but really, really dope. Yeah, and just it was all about fun. I think when he was rhyming, because it would make you think and make you laugh also at the same time because of the way how he put everything together, and it really didn't have any reason. It just was. Is really what it was. So yeah, big ups to Zevlov X, and rest in peace for sure, 100%. So we're waiting for C-. He's on California time. He's out in California. He's on weed time. So hopefully he shows up soon and we can get into this conversation with him. In the meanwhile, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is Jus Riffin. We do it I'll do it now, station identification, top of the hour. We do it every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll give you a little bit of
entertainment at its best.
So yeah, we are powered by Rug Radio as well. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody. And we're streaming live for the first time on Abstract. So what's up, Abstract people? If you're watching us on Abstract, thank you very much. And if you're watching us elsewhere, thank you very much as well. Appreciate you guys.
Hey, Hef, I wanted to interject and just see how you're coming along. I know you were messing around with that AI music software, and do you want to fill us in on like any latest developments with it?
Well, not really many developments because I messed with it for a little bit, and then like life happens, you get busy. I do want to jump into it, and so I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you here, because I messed with it, but I only have my laptop. My MIDI controller is in storage, so I'm waiting to get to the storage unit to grab the MIDI keyboard so I can actually fuck with Spawn, because I really dig the software. I really dig it because you can manipulate the sounds, and you can move the MIDI notes around. You can change the MIDI notes to something that you want. Doesn't necessarily have to be what's coming out of the machine. And it gives you 8 different, segments or whatever. And it's really cool. But I can't wait to get my fucking MIDI keyboard so I can really plug it in and then start jamming with it, So we got C- is in the building. He's just getting set up. So we'll give him a few minutes to get his thing together. And but I'm gonna continue on with Spawn because I really, really like Spawn, and I hope we can get them on the show. We're just waiting for a date from the CEO. They're busy over there as well. But I really, if you guys produce, go check out Spawn yourself. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, whatever. Just let us know. I'm really excited to hear about that. What about you, man? You messed with it.
Well, I did mess with it, but I also want to add to, since we were asking for people their thoughts on Spawn, if they find any other software stuff that they think is really cool and helping them creative, share that too, because we'll talk about it on the show. We're always looking for fun stuff, and as far as myself, I messed with Spawn a little bit. I didn't give it enough time to pass judgment on it, just because I'm in the thick of some projects right now. But I mean, it looks like what they're trying to do is pretty cool, So I'm definitely going to play around with it more. I also found that was basically a melody based type of VST, where and I stumbled upon this rhythm based VST and messing with it. At this point in time, I'm messing with it more like just from a curiosity standpoint. I mean, to me, that's the favorite part of being an artist, is coming up with that stuff. So I don't know if I'll, look on the outside there. But on the other side, it's cool though. You can focus on other things. I guess if some artists like to do it that way, because it's pretty much the same as just grabbing a sample, except for you're grabbing a sample that's not really a sample. It's just generated sound.
Melody. Yeah. Generated sound that's turned to a melody that you can, the cool thing about the digital production these days is that you can manipulate so much more than you would from back in the day when you just had the drum machine, right? So there's just a multitude of things that you can do. Let's bring up our special guest tonight, and let's talk to him because he's produced a lot of music as well. So I'm curious to his thoughts on AI generated software that's music production software that's utilizes AI. So without further ado, I would like to introduce one of the dopest DJs that I know and producers, Mr. C-. Welcome to Jus Riffin, C-. What's cooking, my buddy?
What's up, everybody? Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, most definitely, man. How's everything with you?
Everything's great. It's been a nice, beautiful day here in downtown Los Angeles, and I did some things. It's the day after my 51st birthday, so
happy birthday!
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm older than you. I thought you were older than me, bro.
No, I've always been. It's funny, but amongst even all my Chalk and J Rock and Truly Odd and I've always been the youngest. Happily.
They're all older. So it's so awesome, dude. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is C-, legendary DJ producer. I know Chris, man, I know you for a long time. We have a mutual friend, Jojo. So props to Jojo. And so I know this guy a long time, but I haven't spoken to you either in such a long time. So much time has passed in between since the last I saw you.
Oh, yeah.
which I can't recall. I think it was you were changing the name of one of the shows because of, I forget what the story was. Maybe you can remind us.
Was I
But
still on the radio back then? Was
you were on the radio. You were with Lethal. You and Lethal and
right,
Homicide.
right,
But then
right.
then Homicide wasn't there no more. It was just you and
Right.
Lethal. And it was Abstract Rude was there that day. And yeah, what was the name of that show?
It first started off as Channel Zero.
Channel Zero, right?
And then separated from Homicide because of some copyright. His team had copyrights. They tried to copyright everything on the show without my involvement. So I had to change the name.
That's what it was. Okay, I thought it was something else, man. Shit, dude.
No, yeah, that was a thing that like they tried to copyright the whole show name and all that shit without my involvement. So I was like, all right, you know what?
So crazy.
Hey man, this business will teach you shit like you didn't know you needed to learn. Just all fucking
people you thought were your friends.
Oh yeah, all that. You know what I mean?
I'm sure you got so much experience with that. I just remember Cookie. So let me tell the story real quick. C minus. So C minus. I was like, always like trying to do things, and just express my creativity as well. So I was like, yo, C minus, let me do an intro for your show. He's like, yeah. He's like, if you could find out who the original sample was that that was used for the title of the show, then I'll play it. So I go, and it was Slayer, Rain and Blood, and I found this sample and I flipped it and I did something cool. Me and you probably don't remember. This is such a long time ago and many joints ago, So I doubt you remember this, but so me and this dude Chris Wilde, we rapped on it. I made the beat. It was so slick. I bring it to the show. That was the day that I came, and Abstract Rude was there, and and you're like. Yeah, and you're like, I can't play it. I'm like, what? You're like, we had to change the name of the show. I'm like, what the fuck? It was like during that whole time.
Yeah, that was a bummer. And it was dope, too. I remember you flipped the Rain and Blood shit. That shit was dope.
Yeah, most def.
Yeah, man, I remember that. I felt bad after because I was like, damn, dude, it was dope. But we had to, and then we went through 2 other show names, too, because right after we changed it, I couldn't think of anything quick enough. So I was like, fuck it. It's the show with no name.
Yes, I remember that.
And then we made it to Mass Distortion, and then that's when I started doing that. And then
Understood.
We wrote it out for like 6 years, so it was fun.
Yeah, you were doing it for a while. So I want to take a step back because when I first got to LA in '94, I was listening to the Baker Boys. Yeah, it was big. I mean, it was from what I remember, the only real hip hop show. I mean, K-Day was doing their thing too, but like on real radio, like real high up radio, I would say Power 106. So you took over. They had a show somewhere else, right? Before they stepped up to the big leagues, and then was it you and Chalk that had taken over the slot somewhere?
Friday Night Flavors, yeah.
Friday Night Flavors.
Yeah, so but they were still doing mornings, and then they had secured the 10. They did 10 to 2. No, they 10 to midnight on Fridays, and then somehow or another, Power got like Funkmaster Flex to do 12 to 2, and then after Flex wasn't working out over here, so the Vegas asked us if we wanted a shot at the 12 to 2, and we were like, "Fuck it." And then not long after, like we did the Radio Hit Squad, which was Chalk, myself, Fuzzy, and E-Man.
Fuzzy
Fantabulous. He was Big Boy's
right hand man
on the morning show.
Yeah.
And then right after, like something happened, and then E-Man went on to be music director, and then Fuzzy was going to do Big Boy's show, and so we said, "Fuck it, let's bring in J-Rock and Truly Odd," and we did, and then we started the Fantastic Four off that.
Yeah,
but still Fantastic Four through Friday Night Flavors. So
yeah, so dope. So, but then you guys also got to Power 106 from that, right?
No, we got to Power 106 before that. We got hired in
Okay.
95.
Oh, okay.
We got hired Valentine's Day 95.
Wow.
After trying out for like a few months doing different shifts, we did a mix show like on Saturday night. We did the Saturday night mix show. Then we did it was called Saturday Night Dance Party, and then we also did overnights because we were trying to become air personalities as well as mixers. So
okay.
we started doing like Saturday and Sunday overnights of like, dude, some midnight to 6 or 2 to 8, like 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then between trying out for that and doing big shows, we got finally hired, and we got hired for overnights. And that's when we became full-fledged. And then we started just doing overnights Monday through Friday, and then doing mix shows in the weekends. And
it was on from there. Yeah, I mean, you guys were one of the dopest shows, like, you know, from what I remember, you know, living in LA for such a long time. And you guys, I mean, it was you guys, and then there was another station, you know, Fidel Rodriguez with Seditious Beats. So I would go between the two stations. I think they overlapped a little bit of time, you know, on that Friday. But I you know, I was, because both shows were obviously, you know, was hip hop related, and so it was always dope to know you guys, and then know that you guys were on the radio and just doing the right shit. I want to know, like, from that point, you know, like, you're DJing, you're doing your thing, you know, you're around good people and, you know, other fantastic, you know, creative people. How did that lead to you? And you know, back me up if I'm going too fast, but how did that lead you to Korn? Was there anything before you crossing into that rock world, you know, from being around hip hop so much?
Well, Korn and myself, we have the same hometown, which is Bakersfield, California. So, and I knew Jonathan, the lead singer, when we were kids coming up as DJs, because in a world of like, you know, Mexican and black DJs and Filipino DJs, like, Jonathan was the white boy who could fuck it up and could still do like doubles of shit and do. So we would practice with him every now and then. And then he ended up going on to becoming, like, you know, he moved out to Huntington, and then they started doing, you know, Korn stuff. But what led me to Korn is we had mutual best friends, and so my friend Jeffy and Kip, and Jeffy used to tell me all the time, he was like, you got to hang out with the guys. Like, you guys, you don't understand how much these dudes love hip hop. And I was like, cool, man. Like, I'm down to meet them. And I went to their second release show, which is Life is Peachy. Was at some fucking crazy little bar in, I want to say, Riverside or something. And I got to meet him and hang with him. And then we just started kind of kicking it. And then they knew who I was because I played on the radio. So they got to hear me spin hip hop sets. And they were like, yo. So I got hurt at work. Some asshole he meant, I can't even say he meant well, but so he decided that he was going to try to pull my thumb out of socket and push it back in while I was producing the Baker Boys afternoon show. So the dude pulled my fucking thumb out, right? And then he tried to put it back in, but my thumb just dangled totally out of socket. Man. So as a DJ, you can imagine, like, the thoughts that went through my head, like, what the fuck is this? So
That's crazy.
I end up fucking having to go to the hospital, and then they tell me, like, yo, you're going to be on workers' comp for the next 3 months. Like, you can't move your arm, you can't move your thumb, you can't DJ, you can't. It's my writing hand, so it's like, holy fuck. So, like, I started kind of getting into a depression, like, because I just didn't have shit to do, and I was just like, and then Fieldy one day, the bassist for Korn, calls me, and he's like, hey, man, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm just smoking weed at home. He goes, well, you can come smoke weed over here at the studio. We're making a record if you want to come check it out. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then every day I started going over there, and I watched them make this rock record. And I got to see, like, Trey from the Far Side come in and do his stuff. I just met Fred from Limp Bizkit, and he had came, you know, I met him when Korn opened for Metallica at the Forum in 97, I think it was, and then I got to watch Cube lay down a verse that was just fucking exciting, and still like to this day is like etched in my head forever.
What was that like in the studio with Cube? Since you mentioned it, what was that like being? I mean, obviously, must have been surreal for you because of the whole NWA and everything. But like, how was he in the studio? Was he a cool dude?
He's a professional, dude. Like, he's the first person I ever saw that came in, like, had his verse like already worked out, but he did his ad libs first. He recorded his ad libs first.
Wow,
so
interesting.
So he was just like, accents on words and shit. So he did 2 takes of that, and then he did the verse and did 1 extra take of the verse, and he was done. And it was fucking magic, because I was like, yo, like, because I had never, everyone I'd ever seen record up until this point had only ever done, they do the verse first, then they go in for the ad libs after, and
sure.
Pepper all the.
He did the pre-libs.
Yeah, and it was he had the pre-libs, and so watching him work was amazing, dude. Then after like watching, and it's also where I met the Deftones, and
the story gets dope. The story gets dope.
We were just like, hey, I was just hanging, and then on the last couple of weeks of recording, the guys, they go, hey, can we talk to you for a second? And I was like, yeah. And so they pulled me in a room. They're like, yo, so we're gonna do this tour called the Family Values Tour, and what we're gonna do is like, we got 5 different acts, and they're all different. Like, we got our friends band Orgy, then we got this band Limp Bizkit, who who we're really cool with, and then we got Ice Cube, and then Rammstein, and then we're gonna headline it. And we were wondering if you'd like to come and DJ on the tour to keep the party vibe in between all the acts.
So
and I was
dope.
like, fuck yeah,
Fuck
dude,
yeah.
that sounds great. And like, not even knowing what I was accepting, I was just like, yeah, sure, dude, let's go. And so that's how, like, because they heard me on the radio, and they heard how I got down, they were like, dude, just fucking play some cool shit. And I was like, fuck yeah. So then that started my whole touring cycle. Started in '98 on that tour. My first touring gig ever was the Los Angeles Forum.
That's so dope. I mean, that's got to be surreal for you too. You're like, everything, like all the steps and the things that have led up to that particular juncture in time must have just been surreal. Like, it must have been like, what were you thinking? Like, how did you perceive all that?
I don't know. I really wish I mean, it was all so new and so exciting and so fucking just like, here I am, like they built me a stage at front of house. So like they had a spotlight on me, and I'm over here playing hip hop shit, electronic shit, down tempo shit. I'm just playing all this stuff that was like my favorite shit at the time. And I was like, just playing all these different really cool things. And like, it was surreal. Like, I wish I could have taken time to like smell the flowers a little more in that era, because it all was just, because our work ethic, me and Chalk, our work ethic was always like, nose to the grindstone, look up when you need to, but as far as just keep pushing forward. Like, don't, like, just fucking keep going. Like, we don't, like, I can tell you my entire career has had a lot of fucking really cool shit happen to it. But the one, like, thing that I'll say is that, like, even, like, if I lived in it for a moment, the next day I was already out of it.
That's awesome.
To the next.
You're moving on to the next. Yeah.
So I couldn't rest on the accolades of the night before affecting me. It's not going to help me get a new fucking gig today. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So it was just, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it was such a foreign like thing to just be like, I'm a DJ, I'm a hip hop DJ out with 5 different bands, and we ended up all becoming cool. And so at the end of that Family Values tour, I was like, all right, guys, thank you, I appreciate everything. And then within 2 weeks, I get a call from Jonathan, and he's like, hey, dude, we were just thinking, man, we fucking miss you, dude. And I was like, oh, dude, I miss you guys too. That tour was fucking awesome. They're like, want to come back out with us? And I was like, yeah. They're like, cool, we're going on tour with Rob Zombie. And just come and play and, do the same thing you're doing, but just, and meet us in Miami. Okay, cool.
I love it, dude.
That's so wild. You know, I'm just curious, like, did you, because these were rock, I mean, Korn, Rob Zombie, like these are like heavy bands.
Yeah.
And then you were going there doing your flavor on that. And I think it's pretty cool because I'm sure people dug it, but it just goes to show you, you know, like if you look at it without doing it, you might think, how's that going to work? But, you know.
Yeah, I kind of just was like, I kind of just looked at it and I was just trying to play like, because I'm a well like up in I'm a well versed DJ back then. Like I was, you know, here in LA, I was playing like, you know, we on Power we were playing hip hop, we were playing old school, we were playing house music, we were playing like a lot of different genres. So I really took to all of that shit, and so I was able to like kind of, you know, like I could think it in different ways. Like, okay, before Orgy, since they're more of a like a gothic post-punk band, but it's with a heavier aesthetic, like, okay, I could probably play some cool, like fucking, just some cool shit leading up to it. And then I could play like some hip hop shit before Biscuit. And then before Cube, I played some more hip hop shit. And then before Rammstein, I played some electronic stuff. And then before Korn, I was playing a mixture of everything. I even would sneak rock into there. But then when I started playing rock, people were reacting to the rock. So the guys in the band were like, hey, man, I heard you play Rage the other day, and it got everyone excited. But, like, could you, like, not play that so you could save some energy for our crowd, for us? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I get it. You know, like, it was not a fucking diss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't they were telling me how to play my set. It was like, hey, man, if you could, that'd be rad. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So, but I was able to kind of, like, play, like 5 different sets the night and differently. And I would also switch them around, too. So, like, to be able to play all these different types of music, and you know, I still was playing my hip hop. I was playing Work the Angles and, you know, Dilated and all that shit back then. You know, like I was playing, you know, fucking Black Star, Respiration, and you know, I was playing. I remember one of the coolest things ever, I think, when I played Respiration at Nassau Coliseum for that tour, because I was like, I'm in New York playing one of their fucking, you know, one of the newest fucking things, and
so dope. Dope like, song too.
And just to be able to play it, you know, and mind you, this was like all vinyl days, so like I wasn't even there was no Serato, there was no.
You had a creative record. What'd you have? Like, what'd you bring with you on the road?
I brought 2 cases. Each case would have about 80 records in them, and then I'd have that. Then I'd have 2 record bags that I kept with me at all time, and I brought them both half filled because I knew I was going to be gigging in cities that I was going to.
I was just going to get to that.
And so I knew, like, I was like, I got it, because I wanted to pack to the rim, but then I was telling myself, dude, but you might go shopping and you might go like find a missing piece to the set that you just didn't know, you know? And so yeah, I was all vinyl. I was still dealing with feedback. I was still dealing with, you know, fucking, you know, record skips and all that stuff, you know.
The good shit.
Oh yeah, you know, the fun shit that makes you realize you're a DJ.
That's right. It makes you realize that you're real back there. You brought something up, which is digging, and I wanted to bring that up also because, yeah, I mean, you know, you're a producer as well, so digging in the crates. You know, every time, you know, I know from my personal experience, every time I went to a different city, no matter where I was going or country or whatever, you always made time to go record digging, to go get some new gems, try and find a gem, whatever the deal was. Yeah. Where was the best place that you went record digging? What was like something that was, you know, memorable today that you found while you were digging on tour?
I
know there's so many of them, but what's that one you're like, I got this shit for $1, it's worth 1,000 now, you know?
Oh no, I mean, dude, okay, so like I was still looking to fill some of the pockets of my hip hop collection, so I was always looking in hip hop, because when me and Chalk first started DJing together, our record collections kind of completed each other. So when we DJed together, like he had certain copies of something and I had certain copies. So I always wanted certain copies of records that he had. So whenever I was digging, I wanted to fill my collection with the stuff that he had, so I wouldn't have to ask him to borrow his records.
Sure.
You know, and so I mean, when first time I went to New York on tour, I went to A1.
Oh.
And
you lost all your money.
Well, dude, I did. I found two promo copies of Never Been Played of fucking Big Daddy Kane's Wrath of Kane, and they were $20 each, and I was stoked beyond hell. Like,
yeah, dude, that's way worth it.
And I was just like, oh my god! And then like I found a bunch of I'll say I went shopping at Little 4 Points in Atlanta. That was really fun. I found a couple Pumpkins records that I was looking for, and just kind of got. Yes, absolutely. And then my Pisces and Scary, the original, like it was like a gold pressing or some shit.
So sick.
A yellow translucent pressing. And then Portland. I haven't been there in years, but Portland, I remember there was like a section of like downtown where there was like probably like 7 to 8 record stores within a 4-block radius. And it was awesome, man. Like I could literally spend all day in Portland just going and digging through different shit. And then
so sick.
Also having them in such a close proximity that if I saw something like for $40 at one store, but then I saw something at the other store, same record for $30, I was doing like price, in my head.
Arbitrage,
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm trying to fucking like, oh, dude, well, it was 40 over there and it's 30. Man, and me making up these rules in my head. Like, well, if you see this record again, it's meant. You have to do it. You found it for $10 cheaper. You know that when you leave here, you're not going to find this. And so I would make myself this, all right, dude, this is, it spoke to me. I got to do it. So I would say those, New York, Portland, I want to say, Atlanta. Phoenix had some spots too. Let's see.
That's tight though, man. And that's awesome though, because you got a chance to travel on somebody else's dime for the most part, and
I was paid to be there. Yes.
You paid to be there, you know what I'm saying? And paid to be there. And man, what an awesome time to be alive, during that era. There's so many stories that go on, so many things that are go on behind the stage, behind the scenes to put a big show on like that. Yeah. What's something that's super memorable to you? Did you get a chance to interact with the fans also? But what was something that was super memorable for that on that tour?
I mean, being on tour is like always with the fans. Like I always wanted to talk to them, especially going out to, like when I toured with Blink on their last tour before they broke up. Like we went to Europe, and I'm still interested. Like one of the things I love talking to other people in other countries. I like to ask one of the first questions I love to ask them if we can get into a music conversation. I ask, what was the first hip hop song you heard that made you wanna keep paying attention? And so I remember being out with Blink, and we were in, I think it was Cologne, Germany.
Yeah.
And and then also Paris too. I remember talking to kids and just being like, asking them how they thought about music and what, how they looked at it compared to how Americans look at it, because I only know how Americans look at it because I was born and raised there. But I want to know, like, how you look at it. And then like kids were like telling me at that time, like, oh, the first hip hop record I ever heard was De La Soul. And I was like, and it would be mind boggling to me because, here I am thinking that everyone has to have heard Run DMC for the first time.
Right.
Like, or they have
or
to
Sugar Hill Gang,
Rapper's Delight, or The Message, or White Lines, or whatever. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, what do you, De La, like, oh my God. But I hadn't understand the entire, oh my God, people are coming into music at such different times.
Right.
And the most impact they could feel is from a period that they know of, but you're looking for them to experience the period that they don't know of because they were too young.
Right.
So it was like awesome to talk to fans and figure out like where they were coming from. And then I would start, after like going to Europe a few times, like I kept doing it every night because I wanted to kind of start to steer my sets into a way that I could keep them interested. Like, KRS One was always a person that they said they loved, and then Tribe and Far Side and Dilated Peoples and.
It's funny too how you say it like this because of the time span, especially the generation that you grew up in is the same generation I grew up in. So I would expect to hear what the Africa Bambatas and so on and so forth and the Grandmaster Flashes. So but that's interesting, and it is time, it's the way it goes, just time wise.
Yeah, and one of the things that really kind of shocked me, that made me that shocked me in the best way ever, was like talking to the kids on the Blink tour. I was asking them, they're like, oh, so, what do you guys, who's your favorite rock bands? List your three, and they would say like Green Day, Korn, and Slipknot, and I would just be like, whoa, those are like two of those are metal, and one is like kind of like punk, and they would be like. But it's all rock to us. You guys put them in. Your guys are the ones that put them in categories. It's all rock to us. Like all three of these groups could tour together, and we would go see all three of them in the same fucking show because to us it's just rock. And I was like, whoa, because over here in the States we tend to put it. Like it's now like like something that would have been considered deep house 30 years ago is now considered probably. What is it? Fucking
drum and bass.
Not even drum and bass. It's like
jungle.
What? It's something minimal techno. Or where it's just like it could have been, just like because I remember I heard this like kind of deep house sounding thing, and I was like, oh, this is dope, but it is like, oh, this is minimal techno. Have you ever heard of it? I was like, are you sure? I go, because it sounds kind of housey to me, and then like, no, it's this, and like. So us in the States, we have a tendency to categorize everything and recategorize everything because they're trying to make this new. Some people are always trying to make a new thing. They want to be new. They don't want to like succumb to the old way of like being considered for house or hip hop or whatever. Like so I think that was one of the things I really kind of loved learning on tour, is that like how everyone looked at music compared to us. And that was really kind of eye-opening, and like, and to this day, it's stayed with me to where like, I don't like. Sometimes there's all these crazy categories of music, but it just all of music you've heard before, and you're just like, no way, dude. Like every and so I just kind of will always say, oh, it sounds like this, but. I don't know what they call it now, but last I heard it was house music.
It's funny. It reminds me of the distribution channels online. If you're an artist, when you upload your music to distribute it to these platforms, it tells you to pick a genre, and I'm like, I don't need all that. Like, it gives you like a list of like hundreds of categories.
I'm like, why?
I wish they just had like, okay, which category is this? Good or bad?
That's all. That would be a lovely thing. It's a trip to just to hear like because now like like people are saying boom bap this or this and it's like it was just hip hop back in the day it wasn't any. It
was hip hop. Yeah, now they got trap and they got boom bap and they got. Jersey is
hip hop. They have orange sherbet hip hop. They have oatmeal and raisin hip hop with rap.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking. It's amazing just sometimes the way that these people like. A lot of people they just want to recategorize something because they want to be new with it, but it's very derivative, of something that's been out for a while or whatever. So. But hey, man, as long as it's good music, send it I don't give a fuck what you call it. Send it my way. Like,
send it your way. Yeah. Yeah, dude, you've played, you know how to bring the party up by mixing so many different genres of music, which is cool. Some DJs get stuck, playing a certain style of music. Oh, yeah. And you're not one of them, C-. You've always been someone that I've respected in that regards because you're not afraid to play. I'm not just going to throw it out there like Beatles and KRS-One mixed together, right? So not a lot of people have the balls to do that or the confidence. So mad props to you on that. I want to jump into this. Like insane fucking artist lineup, people that you've worked with. You know, if you could tell us a little bit or take us into some of these journeys. I know there's so many of them. I don't want to go. I'll read a list of them, but like I don't want you to tell on every single one. But you know, from Korn to Wu-Tang, Metallica, Nas, Deftones. One of my favorite bands, Deftones. Those guys were sick. And Team Sleep, you know, just another sick, you know, Weezer, you know, Gangstar, Green Day. Like, take us on some of those the journeys that have gotten you to to work with those legendary artists as well. Oh, what happened to C minus? We lost C minus.
Did we lose him? Oh, looks like maybe a little connection there. There we go.
Let's see. Okay, there we go. Oh, no, we lost him. Sorry, everybody. Let's see here. Let's go back to this. He'll be back in a minute. He probably lost his connection, but I think valid question, you know, because I really want to know. Like, he's performed with some amazing, you know, amazing people and artists that we all like and love. Maybe not all of them in the same thing, but like, you know, there are artists on that list that I'm sure, you know, you guys like some of them, you know. So just very interesting, man. Very interesting too to be brought, you know, into the tour. And it goes to show you, you know, hard work and dedication does pay off. We got C minus's back.
Yeah,
Okay,
we are,
so
dude. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that.
it's all good, dude. It's all good. So
your question.
I'll re-ask the question if you did you hear it? Okay. So with all the artists that you work with, I just want to hear like some of the how you got there, how you got to working with a lot of these legendary artists yourself. You know, I'll mention a few. You don't have to like, you know, go to every one, but like, you know, Weezer, Wu-Tang, Metallica, Nas, Deftones. I was saying Deftones is one of my favorite groups. Team Sleep, you know, that whole style of music I just love. Kanye, Green Day, The Strokes. Like how like does one person like yourself get to experience all that?
Okay, so the Team Sleep one, I did a beat on that record, that first
Yes.
EP. I did a song called Ataraxia, which is name title of Complete State of Calm. And so how I did that is so on that Rob Zombie tour, talking about with when I went out with Korn, we had went to do Sacto, and then Jonathan was like, "Hey, my boy Chino, who's in Deftones, is going to come out on the road with us for a few days." And I was like, cool. He's like, so you guys are going to be on, like, you guys are going to ride the bus together, and, like, you guys could probably be, like, roommates. And I was like, cool. So I got a chance to hang with Chino, and then we started talking about, like, this different music and then we both ended up, like, jonesing and, like, totally fucking, you know, ranting and raving about DJ Shadow.
Another dope DJ.
So we then we kicked it, and then come like the next year, I started hanging with those guys, and me and Chino started hanging and just playing each other a bunch of music. And then while they were recording Saturday Night Wrist in Malibu at the Morning View House here in LA, like Chino was like, he was telling me, he's like, yo, I got this side project I'm gonna do called Team Sleep, where we're just more like beat driven and stuff. And he had heard some of my beats, and he was like, yo, you got anything you could give, you know? And I was like, all right, give me like some music to work with, and I'll build around it. So so he gave me like 3 songs, and there was the one Ataraxia. And so I had built those drum parts to it, and so Chino called me. He said, come to the studio, fucking bring the SP. And I was like, kill it. So I showed up, and then we fucking, while they're recording Saturday Night Wrist, I laid the Team Sleep drums in another room in the studio. And
so dope, dude. I want to play a little bit of it so people can kind of, you know, get a glimpse of it.
Yeah. All SB12.
We're gonna get they're gonna kill
Yeah,
us
don't
for
get caught. Don't get
copyrights.
copyright on it.
It's all good. But such a dope song. So yeah, everyone go check that out. Go check out Team Sleep. But man, that's really dope that you were on. I mean, another iconic band too, I think, in my opinion. It's just
Yeah.
awesome that you got a
Deftones are
chance
the
to work
best.
with them. Yeah.
Deftones are the absolute best. Like, and let's say
Have you
some.
still go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was asking, have you still remained in contact with everybody and friendly with everybody to
Oh yeah,
today?
I just saw the guys in Vegas last weekend. They had Mars Volta opening up for them, and
Wow.
and so I got to go see and just hang out with the guys in fucking Vegas for just a hot second. But yeah, it was really good to fucking connect with those dudes. And I still keep in contact with them. Like the podcast I do with Vio right now, we have Steph from Deftones. He's one of our co-hosts.
Oh, tight.
2 days a week when he's in town, not touring. So, but I love everybody in that band. I love Chino. I love Frank, the DJ. He's Frank Delgado. He's one of the best motherfuckers on the face of earth. Abe is one of the best drummers I've ever seen and heard.
They're just so talented, man.
And fucking Fred. Now they got Fred on bass. Fred Savlin, who used to play with Manson, but dude, he's a badass, and that motherfucker is seriously one of the best. And then they got another guy, Lance Jackman. He's dope, and he's really nice and cool dude, and fucking can sing and play ass off on guitar. So yeah, I still keep in contact with the Korn guys. I just talked to Jonathan yesterday. He sent me a happy birthday text, and so I'm gonna meet up with him soon at home in Vaco. Yeah,
Happy
man.
belated birthday. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank
I think
you, man.
I had said it to you earlier, but
Hey,
no stuff. Go ahead, go ahead, Cookie.
oh no, I was just curious. Do you still get down with the was that the SP1200 you were talking about?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Now, do you still work with that today, or do you use modern stuff strictly because it's quick?
I tried to learn Ableton. I had a learning curve with it, and it just really kind of it made me not want to do beats. So
It's
so
interesting.
I went and got my SP1200 totally redone by Bruce Forat, and
Oh.
he put all new 8-outs in the back and that are louder. He replaced my green screen with the blue screen. He replaced all the channels and all the buttons, and yeah, that's what so now what I do is I do everything that I can, like on an SP1200, like on the SP1200, and I lay that to either Pro Tools or Ableton and just kind of use those programs as tape,
Cool.
and then I'm able to kind of like fly shit in if I need to, if I'm gonna cut some shit in or whatever. So, but yeah, I try to do everything that I most possibly can on the SP12, even with the 10 seconds of sample time. That's just, it's my baby. I used to like in talks with with Dilla back in the day, like we used to have these talks about like he loved the SP, but he always wanted that much more sampling time. And when he got the MPC 3000, which I think it had 34 seconds.
Yeah, it was.
And
It
he never modded it. Dylan never modded the 3000. That everyone was like, "Oh man, he had no, that motherfucker was just a fucking genius, and he was one of the best beat makers and producers I've ever seen in my life." And to watch him work was like truly like watching a wonder of the world happening before you. So I used to trip on him out, because he was the same thing, but he just had more like sample time. But I used to trip on like, dude, you don't even do anything modded, and it's like he's like, nah, man, the limitation makes me go beyond it.
right.
So cool. And I think that's a really good message for people just starting out today. Sometimes limit your options, and it brings cooler stuff. It brings your true creativity out. And myself, even though, it's like even myself, sometimes I get caught in the optionitis. I also think, for sure.
Yeah, I always even to this day, I kind of when I one of the things I like doing when I'm making drums or I like to because I never had, like, when I first came up, I didn't have a board to run everything. I had to kind of like sample. Like, if I needed the kick to have more kick, I sampled with more bass. If I wanted the snare to be more fucking like mid, we put more mid in it, you know, when you sample it. Even if I'm sampling at 45 because of the time, you know, the time that I have to work with, and which is a, you know, like any SP 1200 guy will always tell you, like, sometimes you got to sample shit on 45 to get fucking the full track done. So I always was very like, I always wanted to kind of like pre-EQ my samples, like it, and so that when I came time to lay whatever I was gonna lay, I just kind of need to do little tweaks in here and there, and just like maybe a couple, like a 2-bar turnaround or whatever. Like, so that was always like my favorite thing to kind of do. It was just kind of just make sure I get kind of everything that I wanted with the sound, like that I could possibly do. Like, make the drums punchy enough, make everything bright enough to where, okay, like it's kind of like I really wanted to sound like just a better version of this. And so learning, I tried to learn the Pro Tools, and Pro Tools I can run a little better than Ableton, but yeah, I just for the most part I've just used it as tape, and I plan on expanding that. I don't want it to be an Achilles heel of mine, that like where I can't get past some fucking a program, because everyone's told me once you get past it, like anytime you have anything, you can just fucking, oh, let me just do it right now. You know?
Yeah. Once you learn it, it becomes easy. I think, you know, when you're used to one thing, you know, it's hard to kind of jump from that because you're so used to it. You know, you can get the job done quickly, and then taking the time to learn something new. But once you do learn that new, you know, you're going to be using it. Yeah. I want to know, you know, when you're making music, first of all, were you trained in any facet by any means, any instruments?
I was blessed by the heavens and universe above with being able to be able to mix in key without a program to tell me what to do. And that was me and Chalk. We learned from all our DJs before us that were like the ones putting it in, like the Tony G's, the Julio G's, the Mix Masters. I was really influenced from a lot of Bay Area DJs, like Storm and Norman, and a lot of cats that played at the Palladium, like in the 80s. My uncle used to help run the Palladium in the Bay, and so he'd come down every other like week or two, and he would just bring me a cassette of what the DJs were playing in his club.
So dope. And
so I just used to listen to that and be like, oh my god, this shit is fucking amazing. So being able to be influenced by all those dudes is kind of what made me kind of become a person
who you are. Or who you became as a DJ. Yeah, it's great. I mean, you're such a good ear for blending. You know, like I said, it's not easy to do. First of all, people have trouble just blending stuff that's in the same tempo. You know, their ear is so bad.
It's sometimes like, it's like, well, it's now like you see a lot of the younger DJs are starting to get that. But at first it was like a lot of DJs were like, well, fuck it, if it's the same speed, it should go together.
Right.
And that is not
Train
the
Wreck
case.
City.
It does not go to, like, just because everything, like if you put 5 songs, like, and all of them are 93 BPMs, none, like, there is nothing in the world that says all those songs have to go together.
Right.
Like, you could actually have pulled up 5 songs that never, ever would sound great together. You know,
that's right.
That's just, you know,
and make it work if you know what you're doing and you have a good ear. You know, I always say, like, you know, what makes a great DJ is, I think for the number one thing is knowing the music. The music, because when you hear one song, you're gonna hear other songs that will blend with it no matter what. If you know the music, that to me, hands down, knowing the music makes the best DJs.
So that's my thing, is that like now it's been like this since back then, before when I started really getting into DJ. When I hear a song I like, my first immediate fucking question to myself is like, what do you think this goes with? What do you like? What tempo do you think this is? So if you can figure out the tempo, what do you know, like, and I'm big on like, okay, if this is 95, if this is 95, this might go with this. And then the way that me and Chalk both practiced blending, and what was good about us being a team is that we called each other on whack mixes.
That's dope. That's good.
So,
Though.
hey man, what do you think of this? Like, and Baker Boys as well. Like we trained, like we used to rehearse at, just practice at my house or their house, sometimes till 6, 8 in the morning, just DJing and trying to we were just trying to get better. And we used to like play mixes and blends for each other and say, what do you think about going from this to this? Oh, okay, that was dope. Or like, nah, that didn't work. And so we used to really like try to impress each other with like, and having a good ear to do that was like the only thing I can say musically that I've had that is like, I mean, I can, if I hear a note on a song, I can probably find it on a keyboard.
Sure.
Just going around and just go, oh, okay, there, well, yep, no, oh, there it is. But then when I started doing beats, I started learning how to put like these pieces of a puzzle into a new collage, and that became the most exciting thing for me. Is just to like, sometimes like me and Dilla always used to refer to the Grail records, which and now Grail records are something completely else. But back 20 years ago, 20 years and four score and 20 years ago, we called Grail records, like Grail records were a record you could find the drums, the bass line, everything in one record, even one song. Sometimes you might find it all on, in 3 different songs on the one record. Nonetheless, it was a Grail record. So, but like my favorite was always to try to find something that had the drums, the bass line, key line or something that so it would be like
break in there.
Like let me just rearrange, let me chop this and make something, and then everything is there, and then you'll just like it could be as cohesive. You're sampling the same air in the room with all these different instruments. So that used to be my favorite thing to look. We used to love looking for Grail records. Like, oh yeah, dude, like check this out. I got this, and this off here. Like, oh word, cool. Like I loved learning about like how to sample and like how to like just like, okay, this drum goes with this and just this sample, but just putting it all together was just like the funnest. Like it was like really fun for me.
And you got like, again, you got to have a good ear. Dilla, great ear. Another, I mean, there's so many producers we can sit here all day, but another one that comes to mind since we're talking is Premier. He always
100.
had the best sounding samples with the drums, everything blended together. It was, whether it was pre-production or post, after they were done recording, just in the mix, he just another dude with a tremendous ear, to get the sound, to get to make them who they were, I want to know. So let's see here. You were on tour with Korn.
Yeah.
Korn is somehow related to Fred from Limp Bizkit. Jonathan and Fred Durst are somewhat related. I don't know the whole back end story behind it, but then you end up having a show with DJ Lethal. DJ Lethal from House of Pain, also from Limp Bizkit. Like just the circle of life. Fun. Yeah,
So when I first started doing Family Values Tour, like Lethal was the first dude besides the Korn guys to like. Because he had heard me on the radio, and I knew who DJ Lethal was, so I'm fucking stoked. Like, this is the dude from House of Pain in this new band. All right, fucking let's go, And he opened his entire, like, his world to me with open arms. And that guy is like one of my best friends, my brother. Like,
that's awesome.
That guy has held me down in life since he's met me. And
he's another amazing, dope DJ and producer that's got an incredible ear. I mean, he's produced fucking amazing songs.
Absolutely.
Some songs you didn't even know that he did produce,
We did. You listened to the Sepultura album, Roots, Bloody Roots. He helped produce that. He helped produce The Stain. He helped produce. He's got some really cool. He's got a lot of work. He works. He is so prolific with beats that I've seen like almost probably like in the hundreds of hard drives that just have like thousands of beats on them that he's just insane. Made. That's just like, and then there's different eras, there's like, he was doing like a bunch, there was some shit he was doing like more electro stuff. And then there's times he's doing, more like down tempo, and then there's like he just has all these amazing pieces of work that I can honestly say that like oh, I want everyone to hear that shit, dude. It's so good. It's so fucking good, man. And he's one of the best. Like he's another SP1200 guy. So like we actually have, there's like an EP we started, like there's like 5 or 6 songs we did together, like me and him both programming an SP1200 and cutting over it. Like we talk about doing
unreleased.
Unreleased, yeah.
Oh man, I want to hear some of this. What the hell? Where's my
I don't even have a copy of it, man.
Where's my leaker? Where's my LA leakers house?
I do. These are like, I mean, he's literally like, we'll hang out, and then like every couple of years he'll bring them out, and I'll be like, dude, we should do something, and he'll be like, yeah, let's do it, and then he goes.
It never happens.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude. All right, I got a question. I'm going to stump you. So, you also have relations with Cypress Hill.
Yes.
And I have a story too, because Cypress Hill, we had Mike Ross from Delicious Vinyl on the show. So I don't know if you know. I love
Mike.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this story. So Cypress, he turned Cypress Hill down, like, didn't want to put so, and then it went to Chris Schwartz, and Chris Schwartz, obviously Rough House, yada, yada. So, how things are in circles. So, Mela Mayonnaise Mentirosa.
Just saw him today.
Yeah, dude. I had when I was doing my Miami bass music, I had a chance, I performed with Mela Mayonnaise twice. He came down to Miami. So, but I didn't know that he was, till later on, that he was, his brother is Sendog from Cypress Hill.
Absolutely.
So all this is together. So my question to stump you, basically, because of the circle that you're in, is who's a better producer, Muggs or Lethal?
Oh, I'm never going to answer that.
I knew it. Yeah, I said I'm going to stump him with this question here.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Muggs is hands down one of the GOATs of all time. And I consider Lethal one of the GOATs of all time, because even if you've never heard, I've heard stuff that people haven't heard. And I love Lethal's work. And I love Muggs. Muggs has carried on and kept original in a way that no one, I can say, in his position has ever done. Like, he is strictly on some super underground shit, and I love that shit. Or when he did dubstep, and everyone was like, why aren't you doing hip-hop? He's like, because I want to do this dubstep shit.
And he's got the freedom to do it.
And he's fucking Muggs. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
And that dude goes out and just fucking does what he wants to do. And that is some of the most inspiring things in life to watch. To be able to watch someone be like, against all odds, people telling you to, like, nah, man, you should do this. And that's what kind of encouraged. Muggs was a big inspiration. Muggs and Lethal were both inspirations, at a time where everyone was like, yo, you should do more hip-hop gigs. And I was wanting to do rock gigs, and I was doing rock gigs. And, I continued to do more rock shit because it made my heart happy at the time, Now I can look at all of it with both. I can look at every field of music that I DJ in. I can look at it all with the same amount of love. But back then, I was really trying to, I was looking to be different from everyone else. And I'm blessed that, Muggs was, a really big inspiration of watching him just kind of do these left turns and go, he did whatever the fuck he wanted, which inspired me to do whatever the fuck I wanted. And
yeah.
That
kind of broke that barrier, right? It doesn't necessarily have to go this way. You can go a different route and still get, some dopeness out of it.
As far as beats, that dude is one of my senseis. You know what I mean? When I go to the Soul Assassin studio and I watch him work, and I sit and I'm like, damn, I'm watching a famous jazz player from the golden age, of jazz. I'm watching a Coltrane work. Yeah. Or I'm watching, Thelonious. That's how I felt watching Dilla, watching Muggs, watching Lethal. I've always, just at the inspiration that it gives me off that, I'm just watching them work and do some of the most coldest shit I've ever heard, whether the world will hear it or not.
Sure.
That's one of my favorite things in the world to do, man. And I mean, and that's what helped inspire me to be the kind of DJ where I really wanted to just do rock sets for a minute, and I did. And now, you know, a lot of people credit me for doing that style of DJing with rock. Back
You've
then,
definitely
when no one else
inspired a
was
lot
doing
of DJs. That's for sure. I mean, yeah,
I'm honored, man. I'm honored. Like,
that's 100% sure. So now you are. Yeah, we'll get into, like, you know, production wise what you've been doing, but I want to talk about Be Real TV. So
Yeah.
you're working with Be Real, and Bobo was on the show, Eric Bobo, right? His dad Willie Bobo, one of the best, amazing percussion player, and Eric in his own right, amazing, yeah.
yeah.
Even the stuff that I saw Bobo doing with DJ Rhythmatic, another dope, Los Angeles legend, DJ legend.
Oh yeah, Rep Easy.
So, yep, Sexmatic. So I want to know, what's it like working with Be Real on the show? What kind of, because this is a podcast too, and so what's the preparation that goes into it? To me, I'm friends with, like, DJ EFN. I know from Miami. I know them for a long time. So Drink Champs, and you guys are like smoke champs, right? If I, if I could think of it this way, because you guys are smoking, obviously those guys are drinking, and Nori does smoke too. But you guys are, it's Be Real. Let's be real with it, right? For real. You guys are always lit on the show, and it's you guys are cracking. It's fun, and but what's the lead up? Like, how do you guys get into a show like this, and what's the production, that goes behind it? How do you?
Oh, you mean like the prep work and all that?
Yeah.
Shit?
How do you build up to a show like that?
Okay, so like my schedule is, I'll just tell you what my daily schedule is to show you. Like, so I do.
You guys, real quick, you guys do the show Monday through Friday?
Yeah, Monday through Friday,
Okay.
2 to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Right.
So on the days like when, like, I get there like around between noon and 1, sometimes 1:30, but like get there and we kind of just. The first thing we do is like, hey, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Like, we kind of go through this kind of like, everyone who's on the show, we just kind of start talking about like topics and just kind of like, and like, that's how we warm up. Like,
yeah,
because we really just, our conversation with each other, we've been doing it so long that we know like certain signals and eyes and like, just we know how to talk to each other. So I think the biggest thing that we just kind of do is we just kind of like, we kind of just talk. And then
vibing out.
Yeah, but we just vibe it out. We smoke a joint before we go on. And then we smoke 2 or 3 on the show.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we talk about the show afterwards while we smoke another joint.
Oh, that's dope that you guys go over the show, like what was good, what was bad, what you liked. And
oh, yeah. If we have a guest that's a fucking... that like one time we had this guest dude that was so horrible and it just didn't work out, you know what I mean? No matter what kind of conversation we tried to have with this guest, it just didn't work out. And just talk about like at the end of the show, like rather than like what we can pick was wrong, we'll say like, we're never doing this and this again. Like, we don't want that again. We need to make sure that this, like, we need to be able to do this instead of this. And we always try to keep more in the, like, that's a better way of looking at it, as opposed to be like, we fucked up by letting that guy talk about blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, but we always really kind of talk about how good, like after the show, like, oh, it was funny, like, and we'll even like go back and watch it, like after, like as soon as the download, we'll just go like, oh my god, it was fucking hilarious. Like one of the shows we've been talking about, there was a show probably like about I want to say 6 or 7 months ago, where we all decided to do mushrooms on the air.
Wow.
and like not a lot, we were gonna do a macro dose, not even a micro.
Yeah. Were you eating it in the chocolate, or did you eat it like, did you go old school?
We had gummies.
Okay.
So it was new school. So it was, like I didn't want to taste the fucking, no one loves the taste of mushrooms.
Nobody, bro. Fuck
nobody loves it.
That's why I wanted to know how far you went. Okay.
So yeah, we were new school in it with gummies and shit. So it was fucking rad. But so we all took macrodose, which is just a little bit below the trip point, but it's a little more than the microdose. So we all four, there was it was B, myself, Bobo, Blaze, and I think Steph from the Deftones. Like, we all got into this giggly, like, as one does when you're starting to get to that point of tripping. And there was just like anything someone said, we just laughed, and then we just further expounded on these like jokes, and just fucking, it was like, and it was, we just kept and at the end of that show, our stomachs and jaws were hurting from laughing so hard. And I was like, that to me, and I keep forgetting when, and I was talking to the guys about it for the last couple of days. I was like, we got to watch that show again, because oh my God, I just remember having a blast. So yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like, so we can do something like that, or like we now we're doing these segments where we go bowling. And
you go what?
Just started, we got like bowling league and like
bowling league.
Well, but amongst ourselves that we just have there's like 15 of us that like all go bowling at the same time. So it's Mellow Mayonnaise, it's Psycho Les from the Beat Nuts. Is
Les living out in LA now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he if you guys haven't heard the new Be Real and Psycho Les record, Real Psycho, I'll send it to you.
Okay, please.
I'll send it to you. And it's so Psycho Les did all the beats. B rapped on it with Psycho Les, so it's really dope.
I heard something. I was listening to one song. I don't remember.
Yeah, we just did a video for it. So I started DJing for them, and we did our first show. And what I did was kind of put the show together. So we started doing one verse of Cypress song, one verse of Beat Nut song, one verse of Cypress song, and then doing like, so being able to fucking just like bowl with these fucking, it's so funny because I look at Les sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, dude, that's
a legend.
Yeah,
it's so great.
Like, dude, when he asked me for cuts on the record, I was like, are you what? I was like, what do you mean? And just with DJing for that show, when we did our first show, I was like, dude, if I would have told the fucking 18-year-old himself that like one day you're gonna be on a fucking stage with these two dudes and you're gonna fucking help, cultivate one of the illest shows, like that to me is like fucking, it's everything.
That's truly remarkable. I have a Psycho Les story I can't tell you on the air. I have to tell you off the air. From back in the day. But dude, Beat Nuts, and again, those guys, we could go on and on and on, bro. They were one of the dopest beat makers too of their time. I love
Beat Nuts. Beat Nuts discography has like helped shape me into who I am, what my musical tastes are. Just my favorite, and I've said this enough, but my favorite days at the studio when Psycho Les is working, when we both work on the same day, is that like Psycho Les will come in, have a drink, do a set, and then he'll just be kicking it, vibing with it, smoking one, and he'll be like, "Want to hear some beats?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to hear some beats." And then he'll just play me like 15 fucking like incredible pieces of art, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, so when did you make these?" He's like, "Oh, like last few days at the crib."
Wow.
And you're like, oh my God. So those, like, Psycho Les is one of the baddest motherfuckers on earth, and he's
Psycho Les.
Yeah, he's the shit.
The Beat Nuts, Intoxicated Demons. The Beat Nuts, Intoxicated Demons. Those guys were so fucking insane. I want to pass the mic to Cookie. I mean, I've been blabbing over here, so
no,
go ahead,
I mean, I love just listening to it all, and I have a lot of very questions that I'm sure a lot of our listeners will want to know. Like, first off, did you guys rent your bowling shoes or did you bring your own?
Well, when we first started, we all were renting, but now I'm the last one of the crew. I gotta go. I'm gonna get my own ball and get my own shoes because
you're legit, right? You're not being sarcastic.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Fucking legit. I love it.
Yeah, it's because dude, we just so when we're doing these these segments for, you can see them all on YouTube. It's called What We Do. and
Okay.
it's on B-Roll TV channel, and it shows us bowling, and we give these commentary after the game, and so it's fucking amazing. And so I'm the last one that needs to get my own shoe and my own ball, because I used to bowl like as a kid, and I had my own ball when I was a kid, and so now
No shit, bro.
I feel like now I'm going back to those times.
What's your score? Where are you at? Where are you at in this league, dude?
Oh my shit! I can tell you, I don't know. I know. Well, it's right now we're all looking to break 200. So I think the last high score I got, which was what I think it was like 163.
That's solid.
Or 170 something, and B just got 198. We went bowling a lot. We go bowling all once a week. Sometimes we film it and sometimes we don't. But
is there music related at all?
We did 6 games in 4 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and that just we just
Your
go
arm
for
must
it.
have been falling out of the socket.
Dude, I mean, I come home well worked out.
I hear that, too.
Like we, because Colton, our guy that runs the board over at the studio for the show, he was like, "Dude, I think we just worked out today. Like we just do like a bowling ball like 100 times, And I was like, "Yeah, you're fucking right." Like we played like 6 games at 10 frames and 2 frames. Just like, oh yeah, dude, we fucking like we definitely threw it over like a few hundred times and it feels great. I mean, I don't know. I like bowling. Bowling's the way, like, it's amazing. And then all of us, we all, like, the cool team factor is, like, when we get our teams, we all encourage each other to be great. And just, come on, guys, we got this. Come on. Hey, man, we're just warming up. It's all good. Like, B is
You guys
my
are taking it
personal
serious.
coach.
That's dope.
B is my personal, like, fucking go-getter coach. He's, like, because, like, we filmed an episode in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and me and Ray, who's one of the show producers, we got in a little later than expected. So we drove to the bowling alley, met everyone, and immediately got out of the car from a 4-hour drive and went straight to bowling. Like, started playing a fucking game. And so I was frustrated because I was having a time just kind of I didn't get a chance to decompress from the car. And so I was hitting to my fullest potential. And he was like, "Oh, man, you got this. We're warming up, man." Just like, and I was on his team. So he's like, "Yeah, we got this. And then it took me a while to get out of that. And when I started out, he was like, "That's what I'm talking about." And then like, he was my coach of like, "Come on, man, we got this."
That's
like,
tight.
Love it.
Especially it's either like bowling or smoking. Like there's times when we film the smoke boxes at the studio and like, I'm in 2, we're both in, we do 2 in a day. Like that after that first one, because we started doing like an hour of the smoke box because people get really faded and talk and all that stuff, and then, so we do 1, and then in 2 hours we do another one. You're in this close proximity with 4 people smoking these huge joints, like you can get really faded real quick.
Yeah.
And like those times he'll just see me falling out. He'll be like, "See, we trained for this, dude. We fucking trained for this." And I'll be like, "Yeah, but you know what? You're fucking right, man. We do. We train for this." And then I'll just...
The Weed Olympics.
Yeah, like nothing's stopping me now, But yeah, we're really big on encouraging each other.
That's dope. Now, are you guys, is it just bowling, or are you guys adding any music to this thing? Is anything going to come from it, like an album?
Yeah. Well, we did it. There's a video. I got to send you all this shit, man.
Please don't forget, because I know you will.
There's a rap song. It's on all the streaming, but it's like our bowling theme song. I'm on it. I just do it at one of my catchphrases, sayings or whatever. And then like E-Zone raps and B raps. And then, so we're doing songs for the episodes and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
That's fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah.
This has been cool. And you obviously you're with Be Real, so you're smoking like probably the best of the best herbs that you can possibly get. The cleanest of the herbs. Just a small fact is I was in a band called Disenfranchised when I first got to LA, and we were the first group to play the very first Smoke Out.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, Be Real smoked us. He smoked us out before we went on stage with it was a blunt, some Kush. It was the first. Dude, I was so fucking high. But I remember what I do remember is I was on the mic and I'm like, the crowd telling the crowd was like, yo, Be Real just smoked this out with the fucking one of the craziest Kush blunts. I'm like, who's got weed? And I swear everyone's throwing joints up on stage, little nickel sacks. And here I am with the microphone. If you could just imagine running around on stage, picking stuff up, putting it in my pocket, lighting a joint. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
dude, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody on stage asked, like, hey, who's got weed?
Yeah, people were throwing
Joints, man. Like
the
fucking
best.
little bag, like you said, little bags, and be like, damn, and you would walk off like, I got weed.
Oh, dude, I walked off with probably like a quarter, I swear.
Yeah, man. Good day.
Oh, that was great, dude. That's my Be Real story, man. But that was awesome, man. But okay, so this has just been an awesome show, Chris. And I just, C-minus, I just want to take the time because we're a little bit past the hour here where our show ends, but I don't want to take much more of your time. So I just want to say thank you, man. I really appreciate it. It was good the other day catching up with you, and hopefully we could stay in touch now throughout this.
Man.
And
Cookie, dude. Next time, I know you got some more. I really hit me with one more question, Cookie. Come on,
come on, Cookie. We don't have to go if you want to hang out for a little bit, Chris.
Let's go. Ask me some more questions, and then we'll go.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
I really love actually the stories. I honestly do love all the stories they've been talking about bowling and stuff and everything. And I always feel like it would be a downer to talk about like music, because this is all music. Like the social,
absolutely,
the stories that are connected to it. That's really where the music comes from,
Yeah.
But if we're gonna talk about music, I'm interested, like because you were messing with the SP1200. I mean, that's your thing. And we have all this technology out, and we kind of talk a little bit about technology on the show. I'm interested in, like, as you're doing these, as you do your work now, like, you were talking about the grails, the records. Well, now it's like you can just pull them from Serato, pull the stems, and it's like, like, I'm interested in how you enjoy that, if it's like, or how you work with it, and I'm just interested on your take on how technology is evolving so fast and making all this stuff that you really had to grind for, like to pull it out,
Yeah, dude, I love DJing with stems because I'm able to pull, like, let's just say, I can pull the bass line out and I can throw on another bass line from another song, and then I can start, and then you just start kind of making these things happen. And I love being able to do a 4-bar acapella out into a fucking song just based on stems, you know what I mean? Like, I love that you're able to do that. It's opened up a new world of thinking for me. I really appreciate that part of technology. I mean, also, like, the part of technology that I love that a lot of people don't talk about because they think it's like, because I hear a lot of people are like, oh, like, like, why don't you DJ vinyl as much as you did back in the day? It's like, well, vinyl was my only option back in the day. And now, like, compared to like 3 crates where I can maybe have 300 records, I can bring my laptop that's got 61,000 songs on it.
Oh, so insane.
So I really, like, if I can think about it, I know I got it.
For sure.
And also, it's better on the back. Like Mike G would tell you, like, dude, I mean, like, if I went to DJ a 4-hour club, I was bringing 4 to 6 crates because you wanted to be as prepared as possible. So I think the technology, I love where the technology is as far as the convenience of it. I mean, sure, a lot of people are like, you don't learn to DJ the OG way, and it's like,
But you know what? But you are an OG, and you know what I say to that, because I remember when Serato first came out. We were there during that time. We saw the birth of the MP3s and all that. Where vinyl was dying. But you're using, you're cheating, you're using Serato, blah blah blah. I don't give a fuck. You still got to know the music. You still got to mix the records. You still got to know what the hell you're doing.
Right. And I think that, like, like, if people say, like, like this, like, because I've had people ask me, like, hey, I wanted to learn how to DJ, but, like, I don't have enough money to get turntables and a mixer. And I'm like, well, get a controller. And they're like, but isn't that not the way? I was like, look, and then this is the way I feel about anybody DJing. If there's someone that loves music so fucking much that they can tell me a fucking cool ass story with songs and take me in fucking dips and valleys, and you're actually making the fucking place that you're playing at a better fucking place to be through your selection of fucking songs, and you love music, fucking bring it. And that means, you know, that person shouldn't have to fucking go through $1,000 to fucking get their, you know, equipment. No, you can get a $500 controller. You can get a laptop, just whatever you build your fucking digital, you know, library on. If you like good shit, we need more people who love music and want to fucking play good shit. This is what we need more of. We don't need people that are going to grandstand and try to just look like fucking cool models.
Yeah,
but there's
and play the
a place for
same
them
music
too.
over and over again. Yeah,
You know, but there's a place for them too, and not saying that there isn't a place for anybody. But we need more people who are so enthused about music that when you walk into a room, you can tell by the energy that people are fucking going off to that this is the place to be and this is where you need to be. And I think that's what we need more of on the music side. We need more of the passion as opposed to it being just a status fucking option or like, oh yeah, I'm this. But I get people all the time to ask me, I'm like, dude, do whatever you got to do, but you don't have to do. I mean, if you want to do it the way that I learned, which is have to get, you know, 2 techniques and a mixer, and then you have to learn how to do, you know, like you're still going to have to learn how to do that. I mean, even on a controller, you're going to have to learn to control the music. But if you can do it with a controller and it's going to get you further than it would having to save thousands for an analog setup, then do the controller. Do it.
Just
like,
do it. Get it done. Find a way to get it
done.
done.
Go in and do it. There's no rules anymore. Like,
No,
obviously,
never.
the technology has fucking ripped the Band-Aid off that shit. There's just no rules anymore. I mean, if there's codes to shit.
There's
like,
code, right? I agree
there's
with that.
codes to shit, but the rules as far as how you want to fucking get shit going, like for yourself, there's no more rules. Like
There's nobody to tell you. There's no one to tell you. There's no teacher. There's no one going smacking you on the hand with a ruler going, no, that's the wrong way to do it. There is no wrong way. The wrong way is just not doing it at all.
The wrong way is not following your dream if that's your dream. And even if like you got to figure it out. Like dude, coming up, like I never fully said I was gonna DJ like I was doing it in high school and, you know, playing ditching parties and shit, but like I didn't know that this was gonna take DJing was gonna take me here. So I never said I was gonna do this for my whole life. I just did it, and it just got real fun. And I still have as much fun as I did when I was learning how to practice in my room at 15 when I first got my first pair of turntables. Like I still love DJing. I love blending. I love mixing this song into this song. I love telling stories. I love picking the vibe up here to go back down here to go back up here to go back. You know, like there's just, I love the art of it. There's in any good DJ set, there's art. And that art is knowledge of music and knowing your songs that you're playing and knowing who you're playing to and knowing that, like, I remember I used to love to like focus in. Two things I used to love to do, and I still do them both because it's the first thing I always do is I like to go to the room before the room I'm spinning and go for like an hour or two before I have to catch a vibe in the room to know what's going on. So I could see where, like, okay, they're playing this, so maybe they might like this. Oh, that cleared the dance floor. Maybe not play that, or maybe you introduce it in a better way. Okay, so that's something else. And then, you know, you just kind of start seeing like how people react. And that used to be a real kind of like wheel turner for me. Like I'd be like, I wonder if, you know, and then, okay, cool. You know, what was the other thing? I just fucking had a very marijuana stoner moment and forgot it. I'm sure. But yeah, one of the things I'd love to do is start DJing is doing like, going to see the room and just also and the other I know that so also like, you know, when you're DJing, like I you know, you see people around, but I always used to try to focus on the one person not dancing and figure out what would make him or her dance.
I like that.
And that way
Get them off the wall.
Yeah, just, you know, because I would be like, okay, like maybe it's this dude being too cool, you know, and you go, oh, all right, let me see if I can get this dude fucking having a good time. And then he's just like, you already know you got these people over here on the dance floor locking, and you're going like, oh, if I play the watch, and then next thing you know, his head's bobbing a little more, and then next thing you know, he's out in the dance floor with the girl maybe he never talked to before, but he's just like, oh shit, I found the fucking path of least resistance for him to get on the floor and maybe talk to some.
Yeah, C minus the matchmaker.
I love
the
it.
matchmaker.
That's awesome, though.
We got to do a matchmaking show. I'm just kidding.
No, we don't.
I'm producing a show right now, just in my head. I'm kidding. Oh my gosh,
so
dude.
Hit me with another one. Walk with Cookie. Let's go.
Come on, Cookie.
Well, you know, I love it, and I love the fact that you talk about the difference between like a DJ. I'm like a songwriter, musician from that realm, right? And I actually, but the ironic thing is, I DJ to pay the bills from at a strip club, which really isn't DJing. It's more like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's funny you guys are talking about Serato and stuff, and I wouldn't even call myself, I'm not being self-deprecating, but I'm not even a real DJ. So I go to this club, right? And I use software, I use virtual DJ. Back in the day, I got into it right when the software was coming out. We used a program called DJ Power, and it was the worst. It wasn't even like but I don't want to get into it with that. But so, but nowadays, you know, in the strip club, so we use virtual DJ, which is similar in some ways to Serato. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Oh yeah.
But like, you know, once again, I'm not trying to self-deprecate myself, but I just go in there and, you know, I don't even have any songs. Talk about not in a crate. I don't even have any songs on the computer. I just tie it into Deezer because you can't tie it into Tidal or any of the American companies because of the licensing. But I subscribe to Deezer, which is overseas. And it's like you queue it up just like regularly. You stream the stuff like in real time. And I was just wondering, do you ever like stream stuff while you're playing too? Or is it strictly on your hard drive?
I gotta have it on my hard drive. I can't trust the internet anywhere for something. I mean, I would definitely trust the internet enough to download to my phone and airdrop it to my computer, which is a beautiful fucking transaction. Like I love, like, even if I'm DJing for somebody and they're like, hey, we're gonna do these 4 songs, and I'm like, okay, can you airdrop your folder to me? And then it's like, bam, that's
so easy.
And then and then another part of that was I was talking about the kind of different worlds of like song, musician, band, and DJing. And I love the fact that when you're talking, you go into a room, you read the room, and an artist like a band can do that too. They can read the room and change their energy up, even though their original songs have a specific genre or sound. They can still kind of cater to the crowd, to the energy of the room, or try to bring a different energy to the room and look at the room to see that. But when you like, what is your feelings on that? Like, if you were an instrumentalist from a DJ, like our song and writing songs, singing songs, and playing songs, what would be the different? Like, how would you bring your DJ skills and wizardry into that? You know what I'm saying? Because now you can't pick any song. You have to pick just your catalog of what you sing and play.
Yeah. I mean, as far as hooking up with like an instrumentalist, like you said, I would listen to what they do. I mean, I think the biggest thing I would do is listen to see where I could fit in, as opposed to like, no, we're going to do this, because I think if I like the person's, if I'm hearing it upon my first time and it's something that like, I'm like, oh, okay, like it's something I could see like building, like I just want to listen, and I want to hear where I might be able to kind of maybe elevate their shit, and then maybe we can come up with shit together later. But like upon first meeting, I would definitely be like, how can I be a stronger suit for you? How can I make this better for you? It doesn't have to be about me and the instruments. Like, we can do this together, and just like, let me see how I could better suit you. And then, because me wanting to make that person in a union like that, me wanting to make this person look and sound and like, you know, be better, I'm hoping that person reciprocates it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, I was listening to that break you were playing. What if I played this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, man, you know what? There's that part where you go up to octave. What if I fucking dropped out for those 2 bars and then cut another 2 bars going back into the 4? You know, like just like those are the things that I would love to do with an instrumentalist. That's right. Just listen and figure out how I could better suit him. So hopefully he wants to reciprocate, and we can just kind of keep building and figure out like parts and figure out things we can do. And they go, okay, cool. Like now let's do it.
I dig it, man. I dig it. And, you know, I also want to add that I really dig the DJ's perspective towards collaborating with artists, because sometimes artists, you know, they're great, but they have like their thing and they're into it. But it seems like DJs, it's like they're pulling from this like history and vast library of music. So when you get an input from a DJ, you really have an endless supply of ideas in a way, you know, and genres and everything, you know, so it's cool.
I can pull like an idea from a Time record, as I could pull an idea from a Coltrane record, as I can pull from a Slayer record, as I can pull from a Smashing Pumpkins record, from a Nothing record, a Whir record, something from Failure, or something from fucking Weather Report, or something that's just like where I'm just like, oh, that's like this thing in this record, and let's do something like that. It needs a little ambiance of this, like, and I think being able to have such a wide array of influences, you can make things happen that you would have never thought of happening, and it fucking ends up being really rad, and you're stoked. You're like, holy shit, I made that happen. Fucking killer. That based off an idea of 2 of my favorite bands. You know what I mean? Like, that's a beauty. That's I like that.
For sure. I love it, man. And I don't want to, you know, I could ask a million questions. I could talk.
We'll do another one. We'll do another one for sure. Let's do another one. Let's get like nerd deep into music. I'm with it.
Let's get nerd deep, dude.
Let's do a nerd deep question then. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you go to I know you've DJ'd on these tours and stuff. Have you done like the DJing live with the bands though thing?
Yes. I DJ'd with, on the Family Values tour, we would do this thing where we all DJ, like it was Limp Bizkit and Korn, and we would do like cuts. Okay. So we would like take turns cutting back and forth between. And then also there was this band Lexicon I was in where I was the DJ / drummer. So basically I ran drum tracks and also did cut solos.
Oh, wow.
And we had a bass player and a guitar player, and then later we had the keys, and then we had 2 MCs in front. So
this is Lexicon. Wait, who were the MCs? Lexicon. This is
it was Gideon and Nick.
Okay, yeah, okay, I remember.
Yeah, we did a record. It came out, and I did a lot of production on it, and that was fun. It was a really fun record to do. It took us years and years because we were all. I kept touring a lot, and so every time I toured, I wasn't able to finish the record. And being the producer in the record, so finally we did it, and it was great. But that was being in a band like that. And also, I think when I was in Herbie Hancock's band, I did a tour with him, and
wow,
yeah, I got to play with Marcus Miller, Vinnie Colaiuta.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, dude!
Lucky,
wow,
Dave Porter, Herbie. Yeah, we did like it was. Yeah, but that was it. Well, I'll tell that story another time. But yeah, we did. We did the Playboy Jazz Fest in 2008. And Sonoma Jazz Fest, we did this fucking crazy thing for Yahoo that was like this internet special. I got to fucking chain smoke cigarettes with Joni Mitchell.
Wow, dude, that's so. Dude, come on, man, you're rubbing elbows with legends, Mara.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just to be able to hear like Herbie Hancock's perspective on rock, and
wow.
also just like
what was his perspective on rock?
He didn't like it at first. He didn't like it at first. Like he told me straight up because he asked me about some of the bands I worked with. And at this point, it was Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, Korn, Deftones, and he was like, "Man, you know, I never liked rock, and it wasn't until I went to Miles's house one time, and I went to his house, and he had all these records, and I saw the Cream cover for the first time, and I saw the Zeppelin record, and I saw, you know, like all these different rock records, and I was like, and he said, I told Miles, like, man, what are you doing listening to all this juvenile stuff, man? You know they only play 3 chords, blah blah blah. And Miles is like, nah, Herbie, you gotta stop thinking like that. This is where it's at. Like, you gotta listen to some of what these kids are doing. It's pretty fucking cool. And so I think, yeah, Miles turned Herbie on to Jimi Hendrix and Zeppelin. Wow. And so
so amazing to hear that story.
Yeah, and so Herbie said once he started, like, he got it and he understood, he was like, oh, okay, cool. And so being able to hear him say, like, you know, how he got, you know, acquainted with something like that. And then hip hop, like because the reason I got in his group is because he was looking for a DJ to do the cuts on Rocket. It was the first time in 25 years he was going to do this song or whatever. And it was also a tour for Joni Mitchell's covers that he just did. And so the person, my friend's wife, who was one of the head people over at Verve Records, she asked my friend, like, do you know any DJs that might want to cut for Herbie Hancock? So he called me immediately. He's like, dude, you got anything you could send me to give to Herbie's people, because they're looking for a DJ to do this thing? And I was like, all right. So I sent him these 2 Lexicon records I was working on. And I just did the cut solos like the week before. And I get a call back a fucking 45 minutes later, and it's Herbie's people saying, like, you're in.
Wow. So awesome.
And I was like, oh shit. And so then, yeah, that started my whole deep appreciation for jazz. Like, I never, because
jazz is one of my favorite musics of all time, by the way.
It's truly limitless, but you have to be into it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not into it, you're not going to get it. Like,
you're not going to get it, right?
Yeah. So I had to, one of the things, so as I started going to rehearsal, and Herbie was very adamant about 8 hours a day rehearsal. Like,
woo!
So, so my first 3 rehearsals, we were, 8 hours a day. And so it was so rad, because it was like, okay, AC, I want you to do, I know you did rock, it's like, oh, we're good on Rocket, so I'm going to throw you in on Watermelon Man. But we're also doing this, we're going to do this interpolation of one of Lionel's song called 17 Beats, which means the 1 is to every 17. So I was like, oh, okay. And so, I mean, and I had to also take myself, like, out of hip hop or rock mode. Sure. I had to strip that of myself, because I needed to get into the jazz. So I put on the Thelonious Monk Straight No Chaser movie. That's all that played in my house for like 3 weeks straight as I got into mode. And also like I started like, doing practice cuts to like Tool and like doing all these weird timing fucking shit, because I was trying to get out of regular
polyrhythmic cutting.
I was trying to find new ways. I was trying to find a new thing. So that ended up me just doing that with him. And so to be able to talk with Herbie about rock, and then, he asked me about some of my influences were, and like, it's just rad, man. That was just one of the fucking
so cool, man.
Times.
Yeah.
I'll do a whole deep spill on that next one. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. We definitely got to do a part 2. Before we go, I'm going to stay on this deep nerd shit, because this is where I wanted to kind of go with this to end the show. Is, our show is based on music and technology, and we've been involved since 2021 heavily in blockchain and Web3, which is where we're at now with technology, Web3 and blockchain. Not necessarily crypto or NFTs or anything negative that you have heard, but the blockchain is very positive, and it's awesome, quite honestly. Our opinion of it. But do you have an opinion of it? Do you have an opinion of the blockchain? Have you dabbled in the blockchain with music and the blockchain? Have you thought about how the two can intertwine, or how they actually intertwine today?
No, I mean, I'm sure they can intertwine. I kind of learned a little bit about it back when pandemic hit, and like, NFTs were being released with fucking albums or unreleased songs and stuff. I thought that shit was really cool. I think I don't know. I don't know what happened with a friend of mine was doing it, so I kind of learned a little about it. I didn't dive into it because at that moment I just wasn't. No one was for sure about anything. So an investment into an NFT or anything would have been like, it wasn't until a few years later I was like, oh damn, I get it now. But like, I think it's cool. I think crypto and it's not gone anywhere, man.
It's not going anywhere either.
And it's not going to. So,
yeah.
I think it's I'm for it.
We're losing you, Chris. We're losing you, C- again.
Oh shit! Sorry.
All good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like R2D2.
Oh
No,
shit!
I don't mind.
My phone's probably gonna die.
Hell yeah. I love it. All right. I think we lost DJ C-.
Oh, we did.
I think we lost you, sir. All right. No worries. Let me do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did lose him. If he comes back, we'll say goodbye. But dude, what a pleasure to have him on the show. I mean, he's
Wow. What a wide plate of just experiences and music and stories.
yeah, you're a little frozen too. Now I don't know if that's coming
I think
from
it's you. Hep, I think it's you.
Think it's my side. I got full bars over here. I don't know.
It's weird because when you said he was breaking up, he wasn't breaking up on my side.
Oh, you're totally frozen on my side. Maybe it is me. I see myself good though. I don't see myself breaking up. But yeah,
why
just
don't you wrap up the show? Yeah, why don't you wrap it up since you're clear? And you know what I'm saying?
Hang on one second. All right. Well, there he is. All right. So you're still frozen on my screen, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been Jus Riffin. We do it every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, powered by Rug Radio. Tonight was our first night. We streamed as well on Abstract Chain. So happy to be a part of that. Make sure you stick around, tune in, and thank you very much for the support that you've all given us up to this point. We will see you next week, same time, same station. Peace, everybody. Peace out.
Jus Riffin. Tuesday night, 8:30 EST. Know where we be. Jus Riffin. Special guest and tech and talk. A musicology. Jus Riffin. Coming to you live at the same time. Here every week. Jus Riffin. Jump in the room. Let's chop it up. It really ain't that deep. Jus Riffin.